All right, I'm going to walk you through how to do the letters home assignment for our Civil War unit. And we'll start off with our presentation. This is our presentation. The second slide is actually going to be where this video will go when it's done. So you won't even see this. It will probably just say video. Our goal on this activity is to be goal. Come on. Our goal is to be able to identify and discuss the hardships that soldiers faced during the Civil War, and this fits into our state standard 6.4.3. Quick word about our primary sources. As we go through our primary sources, all the letters that we're reading today are from primary sources. They are original letters that were written during the Civil War. They have been typed, but they have not been edited for any sort of spelling or grammar mistakes. Lowercase i's are lowercase i's. And all the words that are spelled incorrectly are the original spellings of the words that the author wrote. Some spellings are just wrong. In others, the words themselves, the way that we spell them, has changed. And so they could have been right at the time, but now they are not. What we're going to do, you're going to have a choice as you're in class. Your choice is to be to either complete this activity by using the letters around the room, or you can use the packet on Google Classroom. This will follow along with page 18 in our packet. So if I go to our Civil War packet, and go on to 18. Grooving out here. 18. There. Not 18. What's your packet? Your page is there, 23. So as it goes through, I'll change that, but we're going to use these questions. What's the name of the person who wrote the letter? Can we tell when the letter was written? Where was the author? Was the author a Union soldier, a Confederate soldier, or a civilian, someone who wasn't fighting on either side? What's the author's background? Is he native born white? Is he a slave, a freeman, or an immigrant? Sometimes the letters themselves will tell us, and other times we're going to get context clues. What relationship does the author have to the recipient? The recipient, where's my mouse? The recipient right here. The recipient is the person who gets the letter. If I'm the recipient of this letter, I would be the one who receives it. Why was the letter written? And this I'll write in a complete sentence. And what questions would I ask the author of the letter? If I was to bring them back and say, hey, follow up, what would I ask them? So this will be walking you through, and on yours it's 18 or 23. The pages can change each year. And here's our directions for those who are doing the in-class, but I'm going to bounce right into my letters. So here we go. We have our first letter from Samuel Cable. Samuel Cable was a private, the lowest rank on the military, and Cable was a soldier in the 55th Massachusetts Infantry, which is a colored troop. He is a black American at the time. Samuel Cable was a slave before he joined the Army. So if I was to go here, if I was to do letter one, I would put down here, he was born a slave, joined the Army. That would be my response for this box. If I was to do letter one about Samuel Cable. He's 21, and he wrote this in Massachusetts in 1863. So if I was to go through here on letter one, I would say Samuel Cable, and my writing is going to change up a little bit, and that's going to be okay. Can I tell when the letter was written? Yeah, it tells me 1863. It tells me that right here. Where was he? Well, it tells me he's in Massachusetts. I recommend stopping this video if you need help to go back and answer something else. Where am I? Where am I? Where am I? Where's my mouse? I hate that I can't see my mouse on this. Massachusetts. Abbreviate that. Was the author a Union soldier, a Confederate soldier, or a civilian? 55th Massachusetts. I'm going to have to look at my map to see whether or not Massachusetts was a free state, a slave state, Union, or North. You should go to page 4 of your packet where you've got your map, and that will tell you the answer to this question. What's the author's background? Well, we answered that. He was born a slave, then signed up into the army. Now I'm going to press Control Z on all this writing to get it back so I can print it again. What relationship does the author have to the person of the letter? I don't know. Oh, I do know. It's his wife. He's writing to his wife. So we know that Samuel Cable was married and he's writing this letter to his wife. Now I'm at the point where I can read my letter. And at this point, I'm just going to read through. Dear wife, I have enlisted in the Army. I am now in the great state of Massachusetts, but before this letter reaches you, I will be in North Carolina. And though great is present national difficulties, I bet he's talking about the war, yet I look forward to a brighter day when I shall have the opportunity of seeing you in the full enjoyment of freedom. I would like to know if you are still in slavery. If you are, it will not be long before we shall have crushed the system that now oppresses you in the course of 3 months. You shall have your liberty. Great is the outpouring of the colored people that is now rallying with the hearts and lines against that very curse that has separated you and me. Yet we shall meet again, and oh, what a happy time that will be when this ungodly rebellion, it's talking about the Civil War, shall be put down, and the curses of our land is trampled under our feet. I am a soldier now, and I shall use my utmost endeavor to strike at the rebellion and the heart of this system that so long has kept us in chains. I remain your affectionate husband until death, Samuel Cable. This asterisk tells me I might scroll down. Spelling and grammar are in the original. And it tells me at the end of the war, Samuel Cable survives. He goes back to Missouri for his wife, and together they move to Denver, Colorado. So, a positive ending there. Why do I think the letter was written? Well, he's missing his wife. It seems like he's pretty homesick there. He's writing to his wife, and he also wants to ask his wife a question. He's curious if she's still in bondage, if she's still a slave. What questions would I like to ask? That's an opinion question. You can answer that yourself. What would you want to know from Samuel Cable if he was to come back? At this point, I'm just going to read the other letters now. That was letter one. George P. McClellan. McClellan was a super famous man at this point, and George P. McClellan is a guy that we're going to see again. He's high up in the Army. Dear Sister Lizzie, George P. McClellan, a Union soldier. He wrote it in Virginia, December 19th, 1863. Dear Sister Lizzie, the weather has been very cold and the duty of the men is severe. They hardly have time enough to obtain sufficient wood to keep themselves warm. Right off the bat, I can tell formatting a little different. Clearly, George P. McClellan has a little bit higher of an education than Samuel Cable, which makes sense. Samuel Cable was born a slave. George P. McClellan seems to have higher education. I'm going to infer that he is not born a slave. I know he's not. We have a very strong guard, one half of the regiment on duty every day for the reason we have an important post guard, and guerrillas are as plenty as blackberries in summer. Now, he's not talking about the animal gorilla. He's talking about people who are fighting by sneaking around, guerrilla fighters. He's important to post a guard. They have a guard around camp because there's a lot of fighters. They're as prevalent as blackberries in summer. No one does stray half a mile from camp or he will be gobbled up. Gobbled up. If someone in a war is going to be gobbled up, it gives me a clue that it's not talking about eating. They're not going to survive. It is really dangerous as we are liable to be picked off by the murderous assassins at any time. I would sooner be in front, that is, with the main army. So he's telling you that he doesn't want to be back at his camp. He actually wants to be at the front lines because he thinks it's safer to be at the front of the army than in the back. Pardon this scribble. I never take time to punctuate. I require a lecture from you or somebody else, then I'll be better. Kind of a little joke there about his writing. He's saying that he needs to learn how to write so he'll be a better writer. Ever your brother, George. And we don't know what George ended up with. Letter from John Sweet. Letter 3. A Confederate soldier, which he sent to his parents in Tennessee in November of 1863. We have just returned from a trip into East 10, Tennessee, where we got big amounts of everything to eat. And everything we eat is so good to me, as I have been starved out so long on some bread and beef. All that we got while we were here, besides Chattanooga, all that we got here while we were besieging Chattanooga. So he's telling us the only thing he ate when he was attacking the city of Chattanooga was bread and beef. Up there, we got sweet Irish potatoes, chickens, molasses, wheat bread, and everything that was good for a poor soldier. Oh, how I do wish that I could be at home now, for it is getting late in the evening, and I have had nothing to eat since breakfast, and no telling when we will get rations, for our rations, which is food, our rations are out, since we left our ration wagons behind in coming here to this place. For I know you have all had a good and plentiful dinner. He seems very hungry. He's written a lot about food. I know you will say, poor John, but this is only a chapter in military service, which we often read. But I am content, and will be more so when we get rations. He's saying, I know you will say, oh, poor John, but this is only a chapter in the military service, which we read, and I'm content, and I'll be more content when we get more to eat. The independence of the bounty is what I want, and I'm willing to suffer for something to eat many, many days, if it will only send me to my dear parents, a full and independent boy. That's a nice letter home. John H. Sweet. Zachariah H.J. Benefield. A letter from Zachariah H.J. Benefield, a Confederate soldier, to his wife in Tennessee. And on this writing, as we're writing through, we'll read what he's got going. This is to Mary Jane, Miss Sari Jane. I think that's why I'm struggling with it, is it's not one that we often see. Somebody just brought in guest star Maddie just brought in a whole lot of caramel corn. So huge win. Thanks, Maddie. I much appreciate that. Not only that, but she got in popcorn too. Huge win. Thanks, Maddie. That is from Miss Baca in the office. Pretty sweet of her. Letter from Zachariah H.J. Benefield, a Confederate soldier, to his wife in Tennessee, April 1864. Miss Sari Jane Benefield. Dear beloved wife, I seat myself this morning to drop you a few lines to let you know that I am well at this time, and hoping these few lines may. Now, this tells us that the person transcribing the letter didn't know what they wrote. It was illegible, and that's often because the script of these writers, the way that they were writing, the script of these writers, especially if you were uneducated, taught yourself to read. And so your writing might be very similar to what you've seen me do on the board. A few lines to let you know that I'm well at this time, hoping these few lines may. To hand and find you enjoying the best of health. Jane, I have no miss of interest to write you to write to you, only we have had a hard march. We marched 5 days. It snowed and rained every day. We are camped for Zollicoffer, Tennessee, which is a town that's 11 miles from the line of Virginia. You can find it on page 4 in your map. When you hear from me again, I will be in Virginia. So he's telling us that he's walking north to Virginia, or east. I reckon that we have stopped at Zollicoffer to rest a few days on Tuesday, the 22nd of March. The snow fell 2 feet deep here, and it has been snowing and raining ever since. We are on our road to Virginia, I think. Now, he doesn't quite know, because he's not the one in charge making the plans. He knows that he's going somewhere, but they're not often told. Soldiers don't often know where they're going. Jane, we are faring very bad for something to eat, and we get flour with the bran in it, and it is half oats, and man can't hardly eat it. We don't get half enough of it. We steal a little and perish a little. We can't buy nothing. Our money ain't no count. Give my love and best respects to all friends. I must close, so no more at present. Only remains your truly husband until death. Write soon. Goodbye. When this you see, remember me. CHJ Benefield. And those are our letters. As we're going through, we notice that the spelling's quite different. Another theme that we notice is food. Food is mentioned in Zach's letter. Food is mentioned in John's letter, and both of them are from what specific army? Food is also mentioned, well, here, except for George mentions food and he's referring to something else. So there seems to be a theme there. We have in our letters a couple of things going on, and these letters will help us out to walk us through. Oh, we've got one more, Mr. William Norton. A letter from William Norton, a Union soldier, to his mother at Hilton Head, South Carolina, October 8th, 1862. And I can tell here that this soldier, Wilton Norton, seems like he's quite articulate. His spacing is quite right, and he's even capitalized some I's. So right now we can see a difference in education. He's capitalized his I's too, but some punctuations are a little bit off. Remember, this is because they taught themselves. William Norton, a letter from William Norton, a Union soldier, to his mother at Hilton Head, South Carolina, October 8th, 1862. My dear mother, hearing that there is a mail going out this afternoon, I thought I would improve the opportunity and write you a few lines. I'm sorry to tell you that I'm not very well at present. I was taken sick about 3 weeks ago with chronic diarrhea, and now have been in the hospital about a fortnight. A fortnight is 2 weeks, so he's been sick for about 2 weeks. When someone has diarrhea, the thing that your body's doing is getting rid of everything. So, our soldier here, William Norton, he's unable to keep any food or liquids in the system. He's got chronic diarrhea, so he's going to be extremely dehydrated, probably very hungry, but nothing's staying in his body. And this is a condition of the camps and the life that the soldiers were living in. William seems like he's trying to toning it down because he might be writing to his mom, so he doesn't want to concern his mom. He's been in the hospital for 2 weeks, but his next line he says, I've been pretty sick, but I'm getting better now and hope to be well in a few days. For somebody who's been in the hospital for 2 weeks, you might not want to tell your parents everything that you're feeling because it's going to super worry your parents. So he's trying to give us a positive note there. I would like to have you send me some things which will come better in a barrel than in anything else. He wants you to ship a whole barrel. I should like some good fresh eggs, a bottle of preserves. Preserves, another term for preserves is jam. Some lemons if you can get good ones, some ginger root, some butter would be very nice. It would come better in a tin can than in anything else. I would like some sugar too. I wish you would send a bottle of good cider vinegar also. I would like some pickled onions and some dried apples. Some prepared chocolate would taste first rate, as we do not get good tea or coffee. A towel and a couple of handkerchiefs would also be acceptable. If there is any room for anything else, I wish that you would fill it up with onions as a good sound apples that are not quite ripe, and they will keep better. So he's hoping she'll send unripe apples that will ripen as they're being shipped. Direct the care to Captain Sanford, care of C 7th Regiment, Connecticut Volunteers, something that's illegible. D.D. Tompkins, Esquire, Assistant Quartermaster General, number 6, State of New York. Please send it as soon as possible. So he's giving an address where he wants his barrel of items. I have not heard from you since I've been here, but should like to do so every mail. If convenient, please send $5 the next time you write. So he's asking for a letter home. Give love to all inquiring friends, and believe me, ever your affectionate son, William Norton. William Norton seems like he both would like some more food, and he sounds to me like he's quite homesick, and he really misses his mom. And he asks, please, for her to write. He hasn't heard from her. He's been here for a while, and he would like a letter from his mom. That's a very sweet letter. Awesome. That's how to do the Civil War letters part. And then you take what you just listened to and you fill it in for letter 1, and you do the same for letter 2. Again, go back, play, pause, use this video to help you.